Straight ahead in the Red Zone, Las Vegas celebrates in Nash Vegas.
You deserve it. You guys deserve it. You busted your ass.
UNLV takes down a Power 5 school on the road with a big win over Vanderbilt. We've got all the highlights, and head coach Tony Sanchez is in studio to break it all down. Plus, a preview of a big Friday night showdown in the Central Valley as the Rebels travel to Fresno. And we profile the man who's making the offense run on the ground, Charles Williams. The Red Zone is taking you deep and firing up the fight song. 30 minutes of UNLV football right now.
This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Welcome inside the Red Zone. Kevin Bollinger alongside UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez, coming off a huge win on the road at Vanderbilt. And, Coach, more importantly, a complete four-quarter game in all three phases.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, defensively, we've talked about it the last bunch of weeks. You know, they've played well, you know, for most of the duration of games, but they really played a full four quarters. And then we talked about some of the critical errors on offense. You know, those third downs a week ago, you know, they got in our way of extending drives. And guys did a really good job of playing clean and converting on those third down situations. You know, Kenny Noblad making big throws on third down on that first drive, you know, to Stevie Jenkins, which was an outstanding throw. Just little things like that all came together. And we were the more physical team. We really recommitted ourselves to that gap scheme, the power scheme, and we ran the heck out of those plays. And that's really who we are. And we kind of gotten away from it. And I talked about us, you know, recommitting to it, and we did, and you see the result.
Well, let's start our look back at this one. We're going to begin with the first half, where the Rebels established themselves as the better team and kept their foot on the gas.
Live like you were dying today. You understand that, guys? Here we go. Hey, go get it. Get that. GMB on me. GMB on 3. 1, 2, 3. GMB.
UNLV in SEC country as they did a two-step with Vanderbilt in Nashville. The Commodores had the ball first and drove 76 yards. On 3rd and 10 at their own 24, Riley Neal with the quick hitter to Keyshawn Vaughn. He breaks a couple of tackles and goes 53 yards to the Rebel 23. That set up this touchdown run by Vaughn, and Vandy had a quick 7-0 lead. UNLV answered right back, 3rd and 8 at their own 38. Kenyon Oblad to Stephen Jenkins for a first down near midfield. Then on 3rd and 6, Chad Magyar over left tackle. He's got a lot of room. He gets 26 all the way down to the 21-yard line. On 2nd and goal at the 6, Charles Williams bounces outside and gets into the end zone, and we were all tied up at 7. The Rebel D held, and they forced an incompletion on 4th down. That would give UNLV great field position at the Vanderbilt 46. That led to a 44-yard field goal by Daniel Gutierrez. UNLV had their first lead of the game at 10-7. After Vanderbilt missed a 45-yard field goal, the offense went right back to work. Williams bounces outside for a 9-yard gain. Then Oblad goes deep downfield, and he hits Randall Grimes in stride, 63 yards for the touchdown. The sideline went nuts because UNLV had built a 17-7 lead. Vandy got a 47-yard field goal from Riley Gay to cut it to 17-10, but the Rebel offense wasn't done in the first half. Oblad swinging it out to Noah Bean. That moves the chains. On 3rd and 5 at the Vandy 33, the end around to Tylee Collins. He turns and burns for 14 and a first at the 19. 3rd and goal at the 5 now. Play action. Oblad rolls out, and he hits Bean for the score. Things were rolling for UNLV as they were hyped up and heading into the locker room at halftime with a 24-10 lead.
So after Vanderbilt's first drive of the game, the defense really shut them down the rest of the way. What were the adjustments in game that were made there?
Well, honestly, it was a blown deal on 3rd down. So we had him on 3rd and long, and our Mike Backers got the back man-to-man. And at first, he stays in like he's pass prone, so our guy kind of went to sleep on it, and then he leaked out. But Ray, who had a great game, he made up for it. You know, he tracked the guy down, but he made the guy pay the rest of the game for it. But that was the biggest breakdown right there.
Chad Magyar has been so impactful in the
Yeah.
games that he's been back. How does he change what you can do offensively?
Well, I mean, you got the 1-2 punch with him and Charles. First of all, you just talk about pitch count, right? One had 24 carries, the other one had 22. You know, rather than having one guy who's carrying that load of a 34 carry game, that's hard, and you won't get through the season that way. So now you have two guys, and I really think, you know, in those short yard down and distance situations, his body just kind of lends himself to being those guys there. And you know, we had a situation where we gave, you know, Charles the ball. We will on 3rd and 1 on a power, and that's probably where we need to. We talked about that in the staff meeting. That's probably got to be Chad's ball right there, just because of his size and physicality.
And the run game being established sets up the pass. We saw that with the Oblad to Grimes. Perfect ball by Oblad. And just a great play all around.
No doubt about it. You know, I mean, you go a week ago, and when Kenyon was trying to throw the ball in the first half, it's all 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 10s and tough situations. Now we're in manageable 3rd downs, right? They're 50-50. You can run or you can pass, and he was a lot more efficient because of those opportunities.
One thing we haven't seen as much this season that we saw on Saturday, longer sustained drives that kept the defense off the field. The defense didn't feel like they were on the field a lot, and that's because the offense moved the chains.
It was, and part of it too is, again, going back to that original thing I was talking about the way we're calling the game now. I mean, again, just, you know, getting downhill, being committed to the run, setting everything up through the run game. You know, there's been a lot of drives this year where it's kind of incomplete right away. And, you know, at times you're going to throw the ball on 1st down, and I'm all for that. But, you know, we want to be in second in you know, measurable situations where you have 2nd and 5, we can run the ball there, we can throw the ball there. You know, we got them on their heels a little bit, and we did. We committed to running the ball a lot this last game, and it paid off.
Well, let's go to the second half now, where UNLV controlled the final 30 minutes, and they celebrated a big road win against a Power 5 school.
UNLV had the ball to start the second half and started moving the ball. Oblad to Jenkins for 16 yards. Then on 3rd and 9 from the 40, the pass interference call on Vanderbilt moved the ball across the 50. The drive would stall, though, and there was some pushing and shoving as things got a little bit chippy. The Commodores went right back to Keyshawn Vaughn, who gets in the clear, and he runs 34 yards down to the UNLV 42. But the defense buckled down, stuffing quarterback Riley Neal for a loss and forcing a punt. Pinned at their own 9, the Rebs got some breathing room. Oblad tossing to Jamal Neal for 14 yards. Then QB1 to Bean, who hurdles a defender, stays on his feet and gets the 1st down. The drive extended all the way to the 45, but it would stall once again, forcing another punt, and the defense went right back to work. Near midfield, Neal back to pass, and he's picked off by Javen White, and he bobs and weaves his way all the way down 44 yards to the 11-yard line. That would lead to a 29-yard Gutierrez field goal on the first play of the 4th quarter, and the UNLV lead was pushed to 27-10. Once again, the D came up with the big play. Neal hit from behind, and the ball goes right to the Rebels' Nate Neal, and the big man rumbles all the way to the Vanderbilt 40. On 4th and 6 at the 36, the Rebs go for it. Oblad, the perfect ball to Grimes for 8 more to move the chains. Magyar capped the drive, going right up the middle for the touchdown. UNLV broke it open 34-10 with 10:44 left. Vanderbilt did not threaten the rest of the way as the Rebel defense shut the door. UNLV dominates in every statistical category in a 34-10 win for their first road victory at an SEC school and first win over a Power 5 conference team since 2008. The 10 points allowed were the least scored by an opponent on the road since the upset of Wisconsin 23-5 in 2003. It led to a raucous celebration in the locker room afterwards.
But you guys collectively as a group just keep loving each other. And when you do, and you commit to it, you don't point fingers, you look inside, good things happen. And I'm proud as hell to be with you guys today.
That's probably probably one of the biggest wins UNLV has had in a long, long time. Man, it feels great. You know, we went back to work, you know, after the Boise loss and just went back to work, and Coach just said continue to fight.
That was my first win as a college quarterback also. So, you know, it was a first win, first SEC win. So, you know, it's really good feelings.
Great momentum and just continue to go off it. You know, we've never had something like this. Now we're going back to home, or we're going to Fresno to defend the Mountain West Championship. We're planning on, you know, taking this momentum and going on a streak.
Kenyon Obland had total control of this game, and it was the command of the play clock, I think, that impressed me the most in terms of getting it down to 1 before the snaps when you had the lead to kind of milk that clock. That shows a lot of maturity for a redshirt freshman.
It does, you know, and again, you saw a huge amount of growth. Kind of got thrown into the frying pan against, you know, Wyoming, and then, you know, the boys a week. You know, he playing a really good football team, and then you saw the exponential growth over these last couple of weeks, and he just looked very comfortable. The way he communicated his sideline demeanor, things we needed to correct. But yeah, you know, it's kind of hard. You're running that 4-minute offense, but you're doing it with 12 minutes left in the game. That's a long time to manage the clock, and thought he did it really, really well.
The defensive performance, 2 turnovers in the second half, allowed Vanderbilt, basically, they couldn't do anything to get back in the game, get any momentum. Best defensive performance of the year?
Yeah, absolutely, by far. It's one of the most, you know, one of the better defensive performances I've seen as far as from start to finish. And I mean, you go back to that stat line, 2003. That's the least amount of points we've held anybody, and I didn't realize that until I just heard it. But guys like Javen White, you know, Gabe McCoy, you know, that whole defensive line. I mean, secondary played really well too. I was really, you know, I thought Plummer played as good as he's played. You know, they went after him a couple of times. Jericho did well. They tried to do a little stutter and go, and he covered it perfect. Evan Oshry did a really good job back there. So a lot of good individual performances, which collectively, you know, make you look real good.
And it was a really clean game. Not a lot of penalties, no turnovers, no sacks. I mean, that is exactly the way you want it to happen when you map things out.
Yeah, I mean, no sacks is huge. We've given up our fair share of those this year, and then not having any defensive penalties is a big deal. We had the one, you know, personal foul, kind of a little chippiness went back and forth. We want to clean that up. But again, our guys were ornery yesterday, and you know, and for good reason. They need to be, and we got to continue being like that.
We're going to take our first break right now. Then it's time to look ahead, because it is back to the Mountain West part of the schedule, and it's a trip to Fresno to take on the defending Mountain West champs. We'll preview the game next as the Red Zone rolls on.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
The Rebels get a nationally televised Friday night game this week as they travel to Fresno to take on the Bulldogs.
Old rivals meet again Friday night as the Rebels travel to the Central Valley. Fresno State has had things rolling the last couple of years, and focus number one has to be the defense, which has had a few hiccups in terms of points allowed, but has the ability to shut people down. The Bulldogs have won the West Division and been to the Mountain West Championship game 2 years in a row, winning it all last year in overtime against Boise. The team says they're comfortable being the hunted instead of the hunter.
I kind of like, you know, I like having that little target on my back. It makes me have to go a little harder, work a little harder, because I know everybody wants to knock us off the throne right now.
Led by quarterback Jorge Reyna, the Bulldogs are in the top 60 in the country in passing offense. They also have a solid running back in Ronnie Rivers, who says the fact that the Fresno defense has been good allows them to get good field position.
Our defense just goes out there and does a great job, and we've actually won a lot of games through them. So, you know, it's been a different focus on our offensive side lately, you know, being able to, you know, really grind and want to put points up this year and score the ball.
This is a Friday night game, and both teams are coming into a short week off of road trips. UNLV to Vanderbilt and Fresno to Air Force. Bulldogs head coach Jeff Tedford says navigating a short week will be important to how the team comes out at kickoff.
Of course, your week is going to change a little bit because of your preparation days. You want to make sure that you're fresh going into the game. And when you cut the week down by 1 day, yes, there's some minor adjustments, but not anything crazy.
The last time UNLV played at Fresno 2 years ago, UNLV pulled off a 26-16 win. Could lightning strike again? We'll find out Friday night.
Fresno's going to come in hungry after getting beat up a little bit in the second half against Air Force. What's your major concerns when you look at tape on the Bulldogs?
You know, Coach Tedford does a lot of really good things offensively. They got a lot of set plays. They're going to give you motions and shifts and a lot of formational type stuff. And they're going to take their shots. So we got to do a really good job of just getting lined up right, communicating, make sure we're in the right sets. And then offensively, you know, they've been a really aggressive physical defense the last bunch of years. We've got to be able to establish that run game again, like we did this last week. You know, every week's going to present new challenges, and you know we're going to spend a lot of time in the office today and tonight watching this stuff and getting a good plan. And it's a shortened week, so we got to do a little bit more work tonight. But I'm excited about it. I know our guys got a lot of juice, a lot of energy. You know, we got a much needed win, and we just got to go out and they'll see on film when they watch it tomorrow morning just how physical we were and how important it is to sustain that throughout the duration.
All right, it's a 7 o'clock kickoff on Friday night on the CBS Sports Network. Up next, the story of UNLV running back Charles Williams. He's turning heads with a big season carrying the football, but he's had to wait for his turn in the spotlight. We're going to go ground chuck in just 2 minutes. Stick and stay.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Charles Williams has had a huge season for UNLV so far, averaging 8 yards a carry and becoming weapon number 1 in the Rebel offense. His is a story of perseverance and patience.
Charles Williams has been turning heads all season long. The junior running back has been racking up yards with grinded out plays and spectacular long touchdown runs that has him in the top tier of rushers in the country. He has fought to get to this point and isn't going to let the opportunity get away.
All the hard work I put in and time and effort, the extra time, the extra work, overtime, all that came together and it's finally shown on the field. And to be honest, this is a great feeling, but I know I got a burden on my back. I got to be able to be accountable at all times, and people are like expecting me to do great things, and I'm expecting myself to do great things in the team. I feel like we're going to do great things too, so I'm just glad to have the position. I'm ready to roll with it and just help get wins.
In 2016, he was the top freshman running back in the conference and won the starting job in 2017 as a sophomore. But an injury in the season opener sidelined him for the season, which opened the door for Lexington Thomas, who never gave the starting job up again. Most players would have transferred, but Williams stuck it out behind Thomas and is now back in the spotlight.
I chose to come here for a reason. I didn't think that it was going to be easy. I knew I had to work for it, and time, eventually your time's going to come. That's what I was thinking. The whole entire process, your time's going to come. Just be patient, and learn from the people in front of you as much as you can before they go.
It's not just about football. Williams is also consistently making the dean's list at UNLV. That's part of the mentality to be meticulous in everything he does, making sure things get done right, and that translates to the football field.
Progress, that means we're just going to keep building chemistry, technique, fundamentals, like making sure we have the right steps, making sure I'm at the right length and the right depth, and making sure everything is always the same. Nothing's off a little bit, like just being there perfect every time, like just treated like professionals.
This Friday, Williams hopes to have another big game as he returns to play in his hometown of Fresno for the first time in his college career. He was injured the last time UNLV visited the Valley, and Williams will have a big fan club in the stands.
It'll be great playing in front of the whole town, and I have a lot of family and friends and coaches that want to come see me play in person. It's been a while since they see me in person, so I'm looking forward to that.
All right, so good kid who's having a good, solid season this year.
Yeah.
Speed.
I just see it. You can just tell by the way he translates, coming over the TV screen right there. He's just a great kid, articulate. He really cares. He's got the right kind of character and conviction you need to get through tough times and also to get to that success that we all desire, So his character is really reflected, through this team.
Yeah, college sports has changed a lot in the last decade. The first sign of adversity, kids just go into the transfer portal and they're gone. He did not do that. And I think that the running back is reflected by the person that he is.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, he knew, again, his time was going to come. You got to be patient. You don't want to be too patient. It's not like you're giving in. But, in this day and age where you got guys that are coming in asking to redshirt after 4 games, guys that are leaving as soon as, things get tough. There are a lot of people that they go ahead and fill the white flag up way too early nowadays, and he's not one of them. And that's one of the reasons we're able to come back and win a game like we did this last week. Because we got a lot of guys like that are leading this team.
One final break for us. We're going to come back with some closing thoughts from Coach Sanchez and the UNLV football plays of the week. But as we go to break, here's a look at how other Mountain West teams did over the weekend.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
All right, Coach, we all know big wins are great, but you got to back it up the next week and make sure that you don't have the hangover effect for that. That's important this week.
There's no doubt. And I think it being a short week, it might actually help us because there's no time to think about it. And we come in tomorrow, the Vanderbilt film's going to last 20 minutes. I gave the staff 20 minutes, 8 minutes on special teams, 20, and then we go ahead, we flush it, we go right to Fresno, and we jump into their film. So it's, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get ready for these guys and go give them all they can handle on Friday.
All right, good luck in Fresno. 7 o'clock kickoff on Friday night. We'll break it all down next week in the Reb Zone. Thanks for joining us for this one. We'll leave you tonight with the UNLV football plays of the week. Good night.
The RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.